Hello everyone and welcome to Arkansas Style. I am your host, Nicole Neiman, and as always, we're so happy you could join us this afternoon. We're jumping right into things today, so here's a quick look at what's coming up. Spring is calling and At Home in Arkansas is answering with a March issue dedicated to transforming outdoor spaces. From lush gardens to resort-style pools and entertainment, ready patios, we're getting the inside scoop from Editor-in-Chief Stephanie Maxwell Newton and featured designer Christy Wright, who's sharing the vision behind one of her stunning backyard makeovers. And get ready for a thrilling ride as we dive into Mark Greany's latest action-packed novel, Midnight Black. The newest addition to his Gray Man series promises high-stakes, heart-pounding moments and a glimpse into the mind of one of the genre's best. And finally, finding joy starts with protecting your energy, but that's easier said than done when life is full of distractions and demands. So here in just a bit, author and marketer Heather Boschke will join us to share how we can be more mindful about what we let in, what we keep out, and how small shifts can make a big difference in our overall happiness. We'll also be wrapping up this month's Book Nook read with Karen and Taylor, as well as make a visit to the Bridget Cartide to learn the secrets of making the perfect quiche from Chef Coby Smith. But before we get to all of that, Stephen Cook, author, radio host, and all-around music enthusiast, is back today with a special look at Dale Evans of Osceola, the legendary Queen of the West. Stevens curated a new exhibit at the UALR Downtown Gallery featuring Dale, and he's sharing how her impact on country music and television is still felt today. Plus, he's got the details on his upcoming speaking engagement at the Arkansas State University. You are a busy man.
You know, the subject matter warrants such, so I'm here for everyone to spread the good news about Arkansas music.
Well, you know how thrilled we are to have you here at Arkansas Style.
Thank you.
Before we dive into Dale Evans and what she's all about, who was she married to?
Roy Rogers.
Holy cow.
King of the West, and that's why we call Dale Queen of the West.
Aha.
And so she grew up in Osceola and went to Memphis and got a singing career started, but it really took off in 1944 when she met Roy Rogers, who she later married.
And I love this story.
And she's so great on her own, but what is really kind of interesting to me, like she was a songwriter. People don't know that she wrote Happy Trails to You. And she wrote the Bible, Because the Bible Tells Me So, and wrote like 20 books. Dale Evans.
Folks at home, did your mind just blow? I mean, did you see mine? I mean, that is mind-blowing history trivia.
We love
one of our very own.
Yeah, we love her, and for like the younger people may not know, but you know, cowboy stuff was huge in the 1950s and 60s, and so Roy Rogers was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, and Dale Evans was his partner, and they had a television show, and Happy Trails was at sign-off, and one of the artifacts we have downtown at the UALR exhibit is a Dale Evans watch that, you know, was mass-produced for the kids to like show their allegiance to Dale Evans and how cool she was as the Queen of the West, because we love cowboy stuff, and she was the epitome of that.
Yeah, touch on that event a little bit more and let people know what they can expect to see.
Okay, so this is an exhibit, and it's kind of tied in with the book From Almeda to Zilphia, all about Arkansas women musicians, and this also ties in with just your average everyday Arkansas household that would, just enjoy music or have a piano, sheet music in their home. So there's a lot of sheet music that's in this exhibit, but also artifacts. We have Patsy Montana's Boots. She was the first female country artist to sell 1 million copies. She's from Southwest Arkansas, and just a bunch of cool stuff. It's a celebration of Arkansas music and a celebration of Arkansas women.
Okay, so folks at home, check out your TV screen right now. This is the book that Stephen Cook has written, From Almeda to Zilphia, and inside it, here is the dedication to Dale Evans. What is this book all about? Remind people, because this is awesome.
Thank you, Nicole. This is a cool book about Arkansas women musicians. Catherine Strauss is the artist here, and there's a couple of women that were so affiliated with their husbands, such as that portrait. She left in very generously half of Dale Evans's face, but she didn't give him the whole thing, because this is about Dale. Mm-hmm. And same with Grace Brim, who we talked about last month, her husband John Brim, and you can see half his face, and that's plenty, I guess, in Catherine's eyes.
Again, it chronicles all these Arkansas women in music history. I love it so much. Really fantastic, and that art is terrific.
I love her.
All right, well, we have a little clip of Dale's music. Shall we give it a listen?
Yes, I would love to.
All right, let's go down memory lane.
The Roy Rogers Show, starring Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys, Trigger, his golden palomino, and Dale Evans, Queen of the West, with Pat Brady, his comical sidekick, and Roy's wonder dog, Bullet.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Is that for your outro?
Wow, that is fantastic. I wish my dad were still alive.
Oh,
This
gosh.
is totally in his lane. For people of a certain age, they know what
Yeah.
they're looking at. That song, iconic.
I think a lot of our parents and grandparents, loved and remembered Dale Evans as witnessed by this watch that we have in the exhibit. But like, it's maybe hard to overstate how popular cowboy stuff was in the mid-century.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, you're also going to be speaking at the university. Tell everybody about that event.
Okay, yes, I'm speaking at Arkansas State. We're talking about women in Arkansas music, and also have an event March 30th at the Old State House Museum, downtown Little Rock, that is a discussion of the book itself rather than just Arkansas women as a whole, but sort of about the book and how it came about. That's with Catherine, the artist of the book, and we're discussing like trying to find these photographs, these hard to find photographs, and some of the incredible legacies of these women in the book.
Yeah, folks at home, what a treasure we have in our town. Stephen Cook,
Nicole.
really and truly memorializing all of this history. Folks at home, if you have any music trivia or any clips or anything that you want to share with Stephen, I would encourage you to do that because you're keeping it all alive for us. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
trying.
you. Thank
you.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you
so much.
I appreciate you.
Don't forget, you can catch Arkansas every Friday at 6:50 a.m. and 6:20 p.m. on Little Rock Public Radio, KUAR. And for those of you looking to dive even deeper into the rich history of Arkansas music, be sure to grab a copy of Stephen's book, From Almeda to Zalphia, using code ARStyle10. Now, how do you protect your energy in a world that's constantly pulling you in every direction? Well, up next, Heather Boschke is back in the Joy Corner to help us set some boundaries and be mindful about who and what we let in. Stick around, you're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
I have a really important question to ask you today. Do you ever end your day feeling completely emotionally and physically drained, or maybe even starting your day that way? Well, we have Heather Boschke today in the Joy Corner to talk to us about protecting our energy. All right, girl, take it away.
Okay, so what does protecting your energy even mean, and why is this important? Each and every one of us is a living ball of energy, and we know this because we can feel it. We feel each other's energy. And there are those living Eeyores where life is always a downer and it makes you feel heavy and tired and drained, whereas people who have a passion and a zest for life and a sparkle in their eye make you feel inspired and ready to tackle the world. So protecting your energy is about preserving your mental, your emotional, spiritual, and physical resources and using them on what really matters to you. And it's important because when we don't protect our energy, we risk burnout, stress, and exhaustion. And when this happens, we operate from a place of resentment and depletion. So when you feel overwhelmed, fatigued, irritable, mentally foggy, you are in the danger zone of energetic drainage. You might notice that you're constantly giving but not receiving. Certain people or situations may leave you heavy rather than inspired. And when you start feeling disconnected from your passion or joy, those are red flags, which means it's time to step back and recharge. By protecting our energy, we can stay focused and be our best and most loving selves for the people and things that truly matter to us.
Truly matters is, an understatement. The way you just described that, I don't know anybody who has not felt that way. And some people are living in that lane and that operating of resentment because their energy is so depleted. Really, it speaks to a lot of people. Okay, how about some great rituals or habits to flip the script?
Okay, I've got 4 for you. The first one is practice grounding. And you can do this any place, anytime, and I usually do this with my eyes closed. And what I do is I sit still and I imagine roots growing from my feet. I send them down into the earth and imagine them spreading wide and deep. And as I breathe, I send any anxious, overwhelmed, or negative energy down through those roots and into the earth. And then I draw energy and positivity up through those roots and into my body. This is a simple practice that takes seconds. You can do it before meetings, after conversations, before bed. Anytime you want to give the earth anything that isn't serving you and pull up that nurturing and nourishing energy. Number 2, with the chaos of the world, another way to protect your energy is to be selectively uninformed. Most of what comes through the news and social media does not move you towards your goals. It takes way more than it gives. So stop trying to keep up with everything. And if you must look at the news, time yourself, do it for 5 minutes, and then I would recommend practicing grounding right after. Number 3, fall in love more. Love is one of the highest vibrating states of being and has the power to pull us out of the deepest of places. Fall in love with your house, fall in love with your body, fall in love with your coffee in the morning. And this love energy is real. Time after time, kids have demonstrated the power of love in science projects. I know I did this as a kid. With germinating seeds, where you talk positively to one seed and talk negatively to the other, plant seeds under the influence of the positive words had a higher germination rate. Those plants grew taller, larger, more healthy than those in negative environments. We are all like these little plants, and we need to operate from a place of love. And number 4, we've talked about the B word before, setting boundaries. We have got to say no to the things that don't align with our values or priorities. And if this is hard for you, maybe give yourself a goal. Like, I've got a friend who is trying to practice boundaries, and so her goal is to say no to 3 things every month, and she's keeping track. And boundaries also include taking breaks throughout the day so that you're able to reset.
It's so exciting. What a great conversation. You talk about a friend. I just had a conversation with a friend last night who is doing the right thing by his family, okay, but it is becoming a drain on him. So while he, is taking that energy and putting it in the right place, it's taking away from his own personal commitments and obligations. What kind of, habits or rituals or advice would you give to somebody like that?
Protecting our energy starts with recognizing that we cannot pour from an empty cup. And what we are filled with spills out onto the world. So if we are filled with anger and frustration and resentment, that's going to spill out on the world. If you are filled with joy and love and inspiration, that's what's going to spill out on the world. And if you want to spill out the good stuff, you need to take time to fill up with the good stuff. In professional settings, it's essential to practice those boundary setting techniques and effective communication. And when you're dealing with demanding people, you can protect your energy by managing expectations. And the yes and is a beautiful way to do this. So if you are being given another task that honestly you can't do all of the things, you can simply say, yes, I can do that. And that means the month-end report is going to be a little late. So yes, and yes, you can do it, but it's going to come at the cost of something else. Another thing, we have to also set boundaries around our availability. For example, if we are sending non-urgent emails in the evening or on the weekends, that is signaling that evening and weekend time is okay work time for you. And it might be, but if it's not, don't do that. And we have to also practice not taking things personally. Sometimes we feel zapped by others because we are internalizing their issues and making it about us. And lastly, if you are always feeling your energy is being pulled away from you, Identify the life-giving forces in your life. It could be people or places or your fur baby, and make more time for them. And another really key question to ask is, are you losing yourself or are you finding yourself in your relationships? Losing yourself indicates depletion, and finding yourself is growth and expansion. Our energy is a life force, and we must guard it so that we can be used for the highest good. And you can think of all of your experiences as withdrawals and deposits. Pay attention to what is feeding your energy, those deposits, versus the withdrawals. And we all have to do things that withdraw our energy, but being able to ground ourselves and practice ways of restoring our energy will keep our life force optimized. Because when we protect our energy, we also protect our joy.
So great. What an important reminder. Thanks for sharing, Heather. I hope you found our conversation enlightening and helpful, and I want you to be sure to protect your energy. Now, still ahead, thinking about upgrading your outdoor space? At Home in Arkansas is joining us next with fresh inspiration for gardens, pools, and backyard retreats. We'll be right back. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Spring is right around the corner, which means it's time to start thinking beyond the walls of your home and into the great outdoors. At Home in Arkansas is embracing the season with their outdoor living issue packed with inspiration for gardens, pools, and backyard hangouts. Editor-in-Chief Stephanie Maxwell Newton, along with landscape designer Christy Wright, whose latest project transformed a backyard into the ultimate staycation retreat. Always great to see you, Stephanie.
Hey, great to be here.
And Kristen, great to meet you, honey. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm ready. Spring is sprung.
I'm so ready.
All right, and this is what this issue is all about. What can we expect to find?
It is all about backyards, pools, gardens, those places you go hang out outside your house, and really how to turn them into a place that just feels as homey and as inviting as the inside. You know, we think about the stories in our magazine really being about inside the house. This really takes us outdoors to see how you can make that area just as great.
Okay, and boy, do we make it great, Christy. Talk to me a little bit about the inspiration, what your clients were looking for, and here's the real kicker. It was a limited space that you were working with, and you had to pack a lot in there.
That's right. It had a lot of elements to apply to the space. So the client was really inspired by Rosemary Beach. They like to vacation there a lot, and so they wanted to bring that vacation feel back to their home in their backyard. So they gave me a list of elements that they'd like to include, and they wanted it to feel very much like a courtyard space and an intimate living area. So some of the items to include were a pavilion, a water feature. They wanted a fire pit and a fireplace. And they also wanted a revision to their existing pool and pool deck. So we had a lot of elements to squeeze in to a little space.
I mean, we are looking at the pictures on the screen. I mean, Christy, my God, the before and after, it's unrecognizable. I mean, from what it was to what you made it. This is the cool part of it too, Stephanie, is that she kind of divided up into like spaces, like rooms.
Yeah,
What's that?
I think that's so neat, and that's a really useful thing to know about landscape design. You know, like my backyard right now just feels like a blank slate, and I kind of don't know where I would put anything. So a designer like Christy can look at it and think about turning it into these rooms or zones. So like, here's where the kitchen's gonna go. Here's where a pavilion would make sense. And talking to Christy while working on this story, she just had such good insight into how you come to those decisions. Like I remember you talking about thinking through walkways or lines of sight. Like while you're sitting by the pool, you wanna look at the beautiful pavilion. So kind of selecting where to put those things in the backyard, that really helps make it all make sense.
If we can scroll through those pictures one more time, Christy, can you teach me a little bit about the mix of materials that you used?
Yes, for sure. So we want to make the space look like it belongs to the home. So we pulled a lot of the elements from the house and incorporated them into the pavilion. You'll see the brick is incorporated in the base of the pavilion, as well as the brick wall around the whole space to make it feel like a courtyard. So that just kind of ties it in like it was always supposed to be there. They wanted really neutral colors and really calming colors. So you can see a lot of creams, a lot of beiges, some grays, just to give it a little pop of color. But the pavilion definitely has the same feel as the home, with the little brick and stone columns at the bottom and the cream color paint on the structure. And we match the roof as well.
Again, I mean, it is blowing my mind to look at those pictures. Absolutely beautiful. That outdoor living space, you'd never leave. You've given that home a whole nother space to live in, really, when the season starts to turn.
That's right, and that is really the trend we see with a lot of clients. They'd rather invest their money and time at home as opposed to a big vacation that they're not going to get quite as much or quite a long of a time out of. So it's a big trend for us to create really a vacation space in their backyard so they can have a staycation and get a lot more use out of the space.
Can I book a stay there?
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. All right, so Stephanie, where can we find At Home in Arkansas?
Yeah, it is available on newsstands all around the state, so like Walmart, Walgreens, Barnes & Noble, anywhere you can find magazines, it's for sale. You can subscribe online at homearkansas.com, and you can also pick it up for free at some of our advertisers around town, so lots of places.
Well, it's so inspiring. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
great to meet you.
Great to meet
really
you,
fantastic.
Thank
when I
you.
get a backyard,
Yes.
I know who to call.
Absolutely.
Again, you can pick up your copy of At Home in Arkansas March issue on stands now, or head to athomearkansas.com to start your subscription and bring the best of home design straight to your door every month. Now up next, we're headed to the bridge at Cartide Smith to make the perfect quiche with fresh greens, crispy bacon, and of course, plenty of cheese. Stick around, you're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Oh, it is your lucky day. Why? Because we are cooking in the kitchen with Chef Coby Smith here at the Bridge on Cartide's campus. Why do we love you so much, Coby? Because it's nutritious and delicious and food within our reach.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right.
All right. Well, what are you whipping up today?
Okay, so we're going to do a quiche today.
Quiche?
Quiche. I don't know. Does quiche intimidate people?
Oh, the name sure does. It
It's
sounds
good.
very fancy.
Well, it shouldn't. So I like the store-bought.
Pie crust?
Yeah. So
Okay.
a lot of people think that they have to make a homemade pie crust. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today I didn't, but I want to make it look like it's homemade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumb and my index finger and my thumb, and I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to come.
Ooh.
Can you see that I've done a
Just your gentle touch makes it homemade.
A few fake homemade pie.
Okay.
So now it looks
Uh-huh.
like I made it really, but I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside, and we're gonna crack a few eggs.
All right, back to the pie crust. A
Yep.
couple questions here. Do you have to poke holes in the bottom of this?
That one I do not.
Okay. Do you have to pre-bake it before we're going to put stuff in
That
there?
one I do not.
Okay.
If it was gonna be something that, say we're gonna do a chocolate cream pie that's not gonna be baked, that would need to be baked. That would need to be par baked, is what we would call it.
Okay.
But since it is not, we don't have. It's gonna be baked anyway, so we're all good.
Okay.
Grab a fork. We're gonna whip these up. So this is 6 eggs. We're gonna add about a half a cup of cream.
Look at you go. Heavy whipping cream in your eggs, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it.
And I just eyeball it. I've made so many quiche in my career that I just can kind of tell what consistency I'm supposed to have. About right. And so we got this, and we're gonna do bacon and cheese and broccoli. So we're gonna have something healthy in it, right? Healthy, unhealthy, right? So we're gonna go some broccoli, and this is just regular broccoli that I blanched. It helps just so it's cooked a little bit and it's not completely raw when you bake it. And this is some Petit Jean bacon that we're using. And just kind of spread it in there, and then I've got some good shredded cheddar cheese.
Do you like to use sharp cheddar cheese?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Not the cheap stuff either. I like good quality cheddar cheese. Put this one there, put this one here. We're gonna pour this over the top.
So no seasonings.
I do. I would usually put salt and pepper, but
Okay.
I don't have any with me.
All right. But that would be it?
Yeah,
Salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper. Some people
Okay.
do nutmeg. I'm not a big nutmeg in my quiche guy.
Okay.
Look at that perfect pour. Look at there. All right.
That's why you're the chef,
That's
and
right.
I'm just the lovely assistant that gets
Okay.
to taste it all.
So I'm gonna bake that for 40 minutes. So I'm gonna do 20 minutes, and I'm gonna turn it 20 more minutes.
okay. What temperature?
350.
Oh, all right.
And then when I'm done, it's gonna come out looking like this. And then I'm gonna let it cool overnight.
Cool.
Cool,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna let it cool overnight.
All right.
That way when I cut it, it's gonna look perfect.
Hmm.
Okay, so overnight, the next day, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna take my chef knife, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna cut all the way through the foil. Okay,
Wow.
this is a chef trick.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay, so now I can take these, put them on a sheet pan, and heat them up like that. And everybody has their portion, and they look good, and you don't have to. But I do have one warm, so we're gonna do with my warm
So you
one.
do like to
Yeah.
serve your quiche warm, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
But I was just showing you how I cut them. That
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, nice clean cut. Comes
Yeah,
so easily out of
right.
that foil
If you
pan.
try to cut a quiche when it's still warm, it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Okay. Gotta
So,
cool it.
Yeah.
All right.
And when you're reheating it, you're just reheating it just to take the chill off of it, really. So you don't have to get it hot. You don't, And I even put a little more cheese on top, and
Why not?
You know.
More cheese makes everything better.
That's right.
Okay, so what I love about this type of dish is that it's a one dish meal, really. I think it's great for like kids' lunches.
Right.
Of course, you can leave that out. If you're having a party, you don't have to really worry about it spoiling.
So this is something I'm serving down in the bistro, and I'm serving it with fresh fruit, and I'm actually serving French onion soup with gnocchi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty good.
The heavy cream in there makes this so rich.
Good, isn't it?
So good. All right, so you mentioned the bistro. Tell the folks at home what that is.
So we have the Hope Bistro where I serve breakfast and lunch. It's open to the public. We have affordable food that's nutritious. I like to call it food with integrity that's affordable. We do a kind of a blue plate special and a sandwich every day. Menu changes every day. We have some grab and go items. We like to have a lot of fun down there. We get to do some cool stuff. We like to make people happy down there.
Yeah, when you talk about it being open to the public, it is kind of like a hidden gem. Back here on the backside of
It
the
is.
campus, parking is so easy though.
Best patio in town.
And the best patio in town. Absolutely spectacular. And the inside is beautiful too.
It is.
All right, well, Chef, this has been delicious. Remind us, what the ingredients are in this quiche again.
So we got this just a store-bought quiche or store-bought pie shell, and then we've got eggs, cream, bacon, broccoli, cheese. That's it, right?
Delicious. All
5
right.
ingredients or less, maybe 6.
And took
Yeah.
maybe 5 minutes to make too.
Yeah, super
Incredible.
easy.
All right, well, thanks, Chef.
Thanks.
Come check them out here at Carti's The Bridge. Now, don't go anywhere. We're wrapping up this month's Book Nook read by Samantha Harvey. Right after this, stay tuned. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Today we're closing out this month's Book Nook with a look at the final half of Orbital by Samantha Harvey, a Booker Prize winning novel that has captured the hearts and readers of critics alike. Karen and Taylor are here to wrap up our discussion, diving into how this story came to an end and sharing what we love most about what critics are calling a love letter to Earth. How beautiful.
Yeah. It's very true. It is very true. I mean, just the way that she describes everything is so beautiful. You know, like I know personally I couldn't go up into space and then come back and describe it in a way that makes sense or that does it justice.
And I think she touches on that with, you know, so we get to know the characters a little bit, and you know, we're just talking about how spare her writing is, but in that macro micro section, the micro is we learn a little bit about some of their backstories. And Nell, the one from Ireland, I think her husband talks about going into space and couldn't do it. You know, he couldn't be on a spaceship for a couple of years to go to Mars, for example. So how do they do that kind of relationship and things like that?
But I kind of liked that when he said that, because he was like almost like, I give you props and credit that you can do this because I could never. You know, he's like I'm not the type of person that could, you know, go out and do something like that. But it's very cool that my wife can do that, you know.
So there's a logical storyline, and then there's kind of this existential storyline, you know, 30,000, you know, foot view. But the cool thing is it has that kind of this orbital flow to it. What is that all about?
So it's sort of like, I think her writing is in this, she's a little bit like, I think Virginia Woolf was one of her inspirations, that sort of stream of consciousness. And you know, it's a spiral in a lot of ways that they're going through. I don't know if you can see, but it is sort of a so that's kind of how her writing is, up and down. They watch the sun go up and down all day long, and you know, I think that you just get pulled along, like you're pulled into the orbit with this book.
And that's why I think it's so beautiful. Like there are moments where I'm saying like, is this a book I would recommend to a friend? I don't know. Did I like the book? Yes. Yes. Like I can't tell you exactly why I liked the book, but there was just something about it that just kept pulling you in and kept pulling you along, and like you want to reach the end. You want to continue with these characters and continue with the story.
A couple little funny anecdotes, like one of the cosmonauts, one of the Russian astronauts, has been in space for like more than a year. And he's like a radio, amateur radio person, and somebody contacts him, and it is really like a who's on first moment, you know, with that.
Because you don't know, it's just hello, hello, hello.
And, like you have these funny moments, and then one of the characters, Chie from Japan, her mom passed away while she's in space, and she can't get home for any of that. So we're seeing these like really focused moments with the people, you know, and then you know you're pulled out and they're outside doing work on the space station, and beneath their glove is the Earth.
So you mentioned kind of the geography of some of these characters. Do you think that was intentional of the author, and what would that have meant to the storyline?
Yeah, I think that it's a worldview kind of a book is what she's trying to do. I think I posed a question because of from space you can't see country boundary lines, you know, and is she making some comments on political geography? And the nationalities of the characters may play into that a little bit. It didn't feel very heavy-handed, but it could have gone heavy-handed, I think.
I think that there's a lot that she could have said that she didn't, but was still, in a way, saying it.
All right, Taylor, trying to understand one's place in the world. Does this book ask
that's the existential question.
That is the ultimate question in this book. And I mean, that is what all of the characters were kind of going through in their smaller, more centered moments, is kind of like, what is my place here, you know, like, where do I go after this? You know, what is life going to be like after this? What is yeah. I mean, I recommend the book, but just know that the writing style is definitely different.
Yeah.
Definitely different.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I
you
enjoyed
did it.
this. We will be taking some time off from the Book Nook over the next few weeks and into April, but we will see you all again in May as we kick off the month with Kristen Hanna's best-selling novel, The Nightingale. Now, just because we're wrapping up the Book Nook doesn't mean it's time to put away your reading. When we return, we're diving into Midnight Black, Mark Greany's action-packed new addition to his Gray Man series. Stay with us. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
The Washington Post recently called Mark Greany the Tom Cruise of thriller writers. He is in his 14th installment of the Gray Man series with his new book, Midnight Black. Mark, great to see you.
Great to see you again.
All right, well, you have been very busy. Court Gentry is on his ever tour of mysteries and solving high-stakes crimes. You've traveled to 30 countries to research this book. Tell me a little bit about, what the storyline is.
Yeah, as you said, it's the 14th book in the series. It's a standalone novel. You don't have to read any of the others to know what's going on. It is about Court Gentry, who's my hero. He's a former CIA officer, and he's in love with a woman named Zoya Zakharova. She's a former Russian foreign intelligence officer who got in a little trouble in Russia, and they've snagged her and they've pulled her back into Russia. And Court is the only person in the West that believes she's still alive, and he's desperate to get in there and figure out what's going on with her. It's the largest country in the world, so he's trying to find some people to help him. Zoya, in the meantime, has been thrown into a hard labor prison camp in Mordovia, in kind of the center of the country, the winter, and she's being worked to death. And so she's trying to stay alive, but she's also trying to manipulate her captors to some degree for a bigger picture. So it's a big Cold War era spy novel, and it's contemporary. It takes place today, but it has this real Cold War feel to it with a lot of like John Wick type action in there as well.
Yeah, and Mark, this is another part of your research process. I mean, we're talking about an action hero here. You do a lot of research and do a lot of stunts yourself as well.
Yeah, I like to do things that my characters do. I don't have to do them as well as they do them, but I learned to scuba dive. I've gotten to fly in an F-18 jet. I've been on Navy destroyers. Stunt driving, things like that. There's not too many things that I won't do. I won't try. There's a couple. I won't skydive. I'm scared to do that. But there's a whole lot of things I like to do, and I like to travel to the countries, to the locations, to get it as accurate as I possibly can.
Yeah, I actually would like to kind of go back to the beginning too, because I think you, when you say you don't need to read the other novels to really appreciate these standalone storylines. I mean, what really put you on the map? Tell folks at home about really your success here.
Yeah, so I got published in 2009 with my first book, The Gray Man, which in 2022 was made into a film with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. But, it came out as just a little paperback novel. I released the sequel, which was also a little paperback novel. And then I was asked if I wanted to write a book with Tom Clancy, which was, of course, a huge leap from where I was to where I was going. Tom was still alive at the time, of course, and I went up to Baltimore to meet him. And so I wrote 3 books with Tom before he passed away. And then the family hired me to continue writing the Jack Ryan series. So I was doing my own Gray Man books and the Jack Ryan books at the same time. So it's, I think that's I've slowly built up my following over 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overstating when I say, you really do write exciting novels, great plot lines, cliffhangers at every page. Without giving anything away, did you have a favorite scene in Midnight Black that you could kind of tell us about?
Yeah, the ending of the book, it is this big geopolitical sweeping story that it does involve the war in Ukraine and what's going on in Russia, the police state that is Russia. So it is this big story, but at its heart, it's these characters that I want people to care about and love. And And Court and Zoya, there's a big prison raid at the end of the story. So there's this big 40,000-foot war going on, but down on the ground, it's, you know, these people in the cold desperately trying to get out of it. And it was a scene that took me probably months to write and to think up. And it finally came together. I didn't like the scene when I was writing it, but when it came together, and now it's my favorite scene.
Fascinating. I love hearing a little bit of that insight. Again, with your history being this 14th, chapter or series in this book, it's going to be a really great occasion for us to check it out. All right, so Mark, where can we find your books?
You can find them; they're on sale anywhere. But I do have a website. It's my name, Mark Greany, Greaney books.com. And that sort of tells you everything about me there. But I'm on all the social media accounts, so I hope people will come out and find me.
Perfect. Well, great to see you again. I'll look forward to seeing what you've got coming up next.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Be sure to go check out your latest copy in the Gray Man series, Mark Greany's Midnight Black. We'll be right back after this. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Thank you all so much for joining us today, and to all of our guests and sponsors who joined us in studio. We will see you all again next time with love. Mwah.
Arkansas Style with Nicole Neiman. Furniture provided by Hank Spine Furniture. Nicole's wardrobe coordinated by Style Me Stephanie.